All right. Okay. Not on stream, but let's do a couple reactions here. You don't listen to that. Yeah, I'm gonna get on stream tonight, probably. Probably tonight. Who knows when this video's getting out? I do. Anyway, um, so we're gonna go watch this Samito video. You know, uh, is Marvel Rivals the Overwatch killer? Now I know Samito's going to say something like that, or Samito. Mito's probably the other guy, team guy. Samito. He's going to talk about this. We all know how he feels about Overwatch in its current state. So, I'm sure what I'm expecting is, some pretty little exaggerated claims on how Marvel Rivals is a Overwatch killer, good for a title, it's good for a video premise. Not going to hold it against him too much. He really cares about Overwatch, and he's really mad about it at the same time. So, yeah, let's see what he's got to say.
With the gameplay loop and hero identity of Overwatch, which it does right now, this is a recipe for a game to become mainstream. It is. If you're not paying attention to Marvel Rivals, it's time to start. Let's have a little bit of a chat here today. There's been a ton of speculation thrown around about Marvel Rivals. Is this the Overwatch killer? Is it this? Is it that? And you guys know why you come to this channel.
I mean, we already kind of got it off the top. Haven't played it. Maybe we're going to check out some clips from Marvel Rivals to see, some more like actual gameplay, because I haven't played it. I can't really make heads or tails of the argument, but it's already, it's a little heavy-handed. But let's see. I mean, shoot, man, I could be wrong. Let's check it out.
Come here to get the unfiltered, raw, damn truth, regardless of which way it swings. So I'm going to tell you guys exactly what I think and why I think so. Here we go. Let's start out with Marvel Rivals as a game. Guys, This game is fantastic. I have over 60 hours in this game already, and now visually it might not look the best, but at least for most streamers, there's actually an issue with OBS being able to actually capture your game. So most of the footage you're seeing is either through window capture, which isn't really optimized that well, or display capture even worse.
Off the rip, if I'm just going off the few seconds that I've seen, I guess there could be some Overwatch similarities. You have heroes. I'm assuming they have classes. So you have a tank or a support or a more damage-focused hero. They have their own lore and personality, but I don't know how one-to-one it is with Overwatch. The third person is a big deal. Off rips, just because game design, you can take it many different directions than you would with a first-person shooter. You can get away with more. You can, say you have a more acrobatic hero or something like that. You can convey that. I'm sure you can get more wacky with what you can implement. Say going upside down or zapping from place to place in a really quick succession. I think that a third person would allow for that, and Overwatch can't really without kind of making someone sick or having difficulty keeping up. Tracer, you have Tracer, but she doesn't jump on things and climb up walls. She dashes, but it's kind of you have one choice in kind of your mobility scenario. So horizontal, if you have both, vertical and horizontal, think like Hanzo with the climbing the wall and the double jump, or Genji climbing the wall and dashing. You don't really get that many on cooldown, so you're not going to see kind of the sequence that you saw.
So most
here.
of the
Let me see
footage
if
you're
I can
seeing is either through window capture, which isn't really
again.
optimized that well, or display capture even worse.
He climbs the wall,
so you
vertical.
I've had to stream this game for a while.
Vertical,
so that dramatically downscales the quality of the game on the
dash,
YouTube viewing experience compared to what it actually is
dash,
in the game. Now, does the game...
Yeah, you can kind of get away with doing all those different dashes and cross map, in third person, because it's less jarring. You have more field of view. So I don't know if that's gonna, make it a direct competitor to Overwatch necessarily, at least for the gameplay wise. Let's kind of get back to what his points were. But I just thought it was interesting. It's third person. and kind of the only similarities I'm seeing immediately is, heroes probably separated into different classes, and hero specific abilities. I mean, maybe you can see them escort. It looks like there's an escort aspect, maybe. But yeah, let's see.
Worse, which is how I have had to stream this game for a while.
Yeah, so
that dramatically downscales the quality of the game on the YouTube viewing experience compared to what it actually is in the game. Now, does the game need to be optimized better? Yes, that's one of the big shortcomings of it right now, but it is only in beta and it's slated to release in 2025. So let's get the visuals out of the way. The third person looks a little bit wacky at first from the outside looking in, but after you start playing the game and adjusting to it, you're like, okay, wait a minute. I actually kind of like this because characters like Black Panther, Spider-Man, and Venom would not be able to work the way they are in a first-person game. Having the game be in third person actually gives them a little bit more flexibility in the type of abilities and heroes that they introduce and having to allow them to be more like they are in the Marvel lore. And I'm not a die-hard Marvel fan, but I am a pretty big Marvel fan. I've read several of
pre-watcher. Such a pre-watcher, anyway. Going forward,
their comics, one of my favorite storylines of all time is the Ultimate Spider-Man comics. If you have not read them, man, I really recommend you do so because they are freaking awesome. Okay, so a lot of the characters are super, super awesome. I've obviously been playing a lot of Black Panther. I picked up Iron Man recently. I've been playing a lot of Storm. And dude, let me tell you, the cast and the way that they captured hero identity is on par with Overwatch. This is the first game that has captured hero identity and a gameplay loop with a special gameplay offering that is on par with Overwatch. I will say it for what it is. Not to mention, if you are really, really infatuated with some of the characters, which, a lot of people take heroes in Overwatch very personally, there are hundreds of comic books that you can go read about any of your favorite characters, which you can't really say for Overwatch. Now, these are
okay. I mean, yeah. So like, it kind of has those similarities. So he touched on the two things that I talked about. So that third person allows for you to kind of get more insane, more intense with your abilities, and how you can implement them so that they have less limitations on that matter because you can see more. And then you have the hero stuff. So like the attachment to a hero, you like the hero's design, so chances are you'll be more connected to the experience that you're playing it in. I mean, those are two aspects that have a similarity to Overwatch. I don't know if people necessarily care as much about hero origins. There are people that do, but like, I mean, you have aimer gamers that just play Soldier 76 because they're aimer gamers. That's what they care about. They want to hit scan all day. They don't really care, that he's an old man. They don't really care about his origin that much. Cassidy, they just want to do cool, plays and do hit scan stuff. Or Hanzo or Genji, it's pretty straightforward. Your edgy heroes, oh, I like being a ninja. Oh, bow and arrow in a game with guns. Like, yeah, I mean, kind of are more attached to their kits and maybe somewhat of the hero and how they express themselves. But Marvel, I mean, they have a base of comics in movies, in content. Their IP is just way deeper. I mean, they've had decades and decades to build this up. So yeah, I mean, chances are you're going to be more easily connected to a Marvel character than you are to an Overwatch character. At least I would think.
All more, just icing on the cake, if you will. At the end of the day, if a game is going to be good, the gameplay has to be good. But, this is a big important part about what made Overwatch so special is that, nobody did character identity better until now. Like, when I'm playing Loki, for example, another hero that I played, like, he feels like a trickster. Like, they capture
skirmishes.
When I'm playing Black Panther, I feel like I'm on the prowl.
I see you got ultimate. It looks like there's an ultimate. It looks like I don't know if that's HP. Is that health? I can't tell. Maybe the ultimate's over here. Yeah, it looks like the ultimate's over here. So, like, yeah, I mean, you have ults. I mean, that kind of maps Overwatch. It's a lot more chaotic. I don't have any problems with that. Like, I kind of came up with the time where you play Unreal Tournament, or Unreal Championship, or whatever the one is. It was third person. You can bounce off the walls like crazy. Yeah, like, I'm a fan of that stuff. So, like, if it's free, I'll definitely check this out. I don't know if it's analogous to Overwatch enough, like to pull the whole Overwatch community away. I mean, that would be intriguing to see. But I mean, from what I'm looking at, I mean, it's interesting at the very least, and it has a lot of the parts that Overwatch has that someone like me can just jump in and get to it. Really
feel like a menace. When I'm playing Venom, I'm mobile. It's like it literally feels like I'm playing an Insomniac game. It's incredible how well they captured these hero identities in this game. And the gameplay loop, I'm not gonna lie, guys, is pretty engaging. I think there are a couple issues left to iron out. I think sometimes healing can be really, really strong. Yeah. I think it'd be cool if tanks were a little bit less tanky and more damage centric to allow them to make a little bit more plays if you make sustain a little bit weaker. But man, they took all of the wacky, fun, crazy out of Overwatch, reimagined everything. For example, think about how abilities work in this game. The abilities in Marvel Rivals are so much more dynamic and unique than what they are in Overwatch. For example, the Loki clones that you spawn on the map will then shoot at the targets you're shooting at. The ability is not something that's been introduced to Overwatch. It's even more outside of the box. Storm.
Ad break. We're not paying for that YouTube Red, baby. That's expensive.
Storm, as a DPS, gives her allies speed or damage amp. Now, it's not a huge number, but that's not something that you would see outside of the support role in Overwatch, right? Like the lines in Marvel are much less or much more blurred into where these certain abilities can fit in. And I find
so yeah, I mean that's interesting. I mean, like your support heroes, kind of like I don't know if they ever did it for Overwatch, like. I don't remember if Sombra had an ability like you can hack your teammate. Maybe it was like quick play hack or something. You hack your teammate and it gives them like a increased cooldown or something. I don't know, but like they kind of play with it a little bit, but they never really implemented it. So I mean, when I'm hearing this, Loki has clones and it shoots at the targets you're shooting at, kind of like a Mirage in Apex Legends, like very confusing. I don't know if the Loki clones do damage, but like just any of those kind of anything that lends to the chaos and it maps to the hero, which again, I'm sure it's a lot. I don't want to say it's a lot easier to do because, being a dev is never easy. But I'm thinking it's a lot easier to do with, a Marvel cast because you have so much, you have so much previous content, previous comics, previous lore to pull from to kind of build their technique set. Like, I'm sure, if they have a couple teams working on just the ability, allocations and planning on what it's going to look like, I can assume each character could have 3 or 4 different sets of them. Like, because you have such a wealth of Marvel to pull from. And you have different Marvel universes and different implementations. So, I mean, yeah, like, at least for Marvel, it's a great IP to compete. If we're going to put Overwatch versus Marvel, it's a great IP to use. I mean, come on, like you just have this endless depth of heroes and slap a hero shooter over it, make it nice, take some of the stuff that you see that already works. So right now we're looking at escort, but you have these little, looks like top. See, it has little submissions. I don't know if the submission feeds, like this is the submission, so it's an escort into a hold scenario. Like, I'm not quite sure, but it looks like, it could be interesting enough. Like, will it take Overwatch people away? Depending on implementation, sure. And depending on how well the game is implemented. Because again, if the game is chaotic and it doesn't really feel Overwatchy to some people, they'll just stay on Overwatch. Like, people just like the games they play. So I don't know. I mean, this is looking interesting at the very least. As a competitor to Overwatch, I can see kind of some of the parallels he's pulling. I can see some of the parallels.
Find that to be super dynamic and super, super fun. On top of that, they took synergy in Overwatch and took it to a whole new level with lore-based character synergies and team-ups. And what these team-up abilities and synergy abilities are is sometimes it's an entire new ability that gets unlocked for the character. Like, for example, when you have a Thor on your team and then you're playing Storm, you get a new unique chain lightning ability. It's like your right click or your secondary fire, but even better because it chains to everybody on its own cooldown. Or if you're playing Iron Man, which is an insane synergy with a Hulk on your team, your overdrive gets infused with gamma radiation, drastically amping your damage, making your
So no, that sounds cool. And kind of brings back, because without the 2-tank thing, I mean, you still have kind of the old synergies. I don't know if people do them that much anymore in Overwatch, to be honest with you. Maybe at my crappy levels, but so what is one? I mean, Nano Visor or Dragon. What is it, Zarya old? Tobelstein Dragon. A Grav Dragon, like stuff like that. Like, can synergize, but not to this level of specificity. And that's kind of what I'm talking about with that level of content they have to pull from. Like, hey, if it's a lot easier to design these heroes, and you have examples of them working together, you can probably put together some pretty good alt synergies that's very specific. Now, he mentioned balancing a little bit. I don't know if he mentioned balancing a little bit, but like that's the first thing that comes to mind to me. Is there's so many heroes in Overwatch. There's so many heroes in Marvel. I don't know what their initial release for their cast is going to be, but they have an endless supply of heroes to pull from, and therefore you have an endless supply of abilities to pull from. I mean, I don't know how a meta is going to be defined. And I don't know how you're going to patch through. Like I don't know how you're going to do it. I don't know what it's going to look like, because games are fun when they're new. Like, this is new. He's played it for 60 hours. We need a streamer, so of course. This is new. So, like, it's the novelty's there. Everybody's still trying to figure it out. So everybody's kind of playing the game freely. Kind of how I feel. Like, games are just, you're supposed to go out there. It's like a playground. It is kind of about being better than your opponent, but it's not like you need to be the best. Like, eventually, people are going to, when it drops, or even probably now, people are going to figure out a meta and stick to it. And then that's when you see the actual pain points of the game. So I don't know if Samito is seeing it. Maybe he'll talk about some of these in the future of the video a little bit. But, this is the first thing that comes to mind, because Overwatch struggles with it, and they had to create their own tasks. So, if they're able to get over that hump that Overwatch is dealing with, then it might, I don't want to say be a complete threat, but it might actually be kind of threatening to Overwatch a little bit, as far as, a hero shooter goes, even though there is a few differences, between the two.
Hero really strong. It's so cool. And, is it going to be a competitive, like, super Overwatch League-esque game? No. And I actually hope they don't go that direction, because a lot of the fun, wacky stuff in this game is going to be what separates it from the pack.
Me too. I agree.
I hope it stays in open queue. I do.
Me too.
I was a role queue advocate in Overwatch. I hope, I also want to see, this is a little bit biased, I admit, I want to see what happens. I'm very curious to see what happens. It's almost like a science experiment playing before your eyes about, like, what's actually better, for the genre. And so I hope they stay in open queue, and I hope they double down on these wacky things. Like, if you have a Venom on your team, you're playing Spider-Man, you get a symbiote attack. It's awesome. Now it's OP, but it's still fucking cool. It's really damn cool, man. And I love seeing that. And they'll rotate out these synergies based on the season. So what Marvel Rivals is, I've talked a little bit about the gameplay loop. Every hero has a unique identity and a unique purpose. It feels really, really fun to play them, and they do their things in a unique way.
Still escorting,
like,
by the way.
Iron Man and Storm are flying.
I'm trying to see if there's something else.
It's very different to play Iron Man than it does to play Storm.
Okay.
And that's freaking awesome that they were able to capture that. I cannot stress this enough. So what is Marvel Rivals? What is it actually? So I guess the big reason why everybody's here is they want to know if Marvel Rivals is going to kill Overwatch. Marvel Rivals is not going to kill Overwatch.
Okay, yeah.
I think Marvel Rivals will kill Paladins more than it will kill Overwatch. But
Paladins is still out. No Paladins hate. I played it on Switch a little bit. It's kind of fun. I'm not gonna lie. But Paladin. Yeah, I agree with Sam Mito. I'm gonna try to be a little bit more intentional with the Sam part. I agree with Sam Mito here with the, is it going to kill Overwatch? I don't think really a lot can kill something. I mean, Overwatch came out, and anything that tried to compete with it directly afterwards is kind of suffocated at birth. But I don't think there's really anything that one-to-one competes with Overwatch. I'm trying to think of other things that kind of one-to-one compete with each other, like maybe Call of Duty and Battlefield. But you can kind of see a clear winner here. I mean, I'm trying to think of like a new, like, okay, Call of Duty and X-Defiant. Like, Call of Duty's too established. It has too much of a player base. It has too much of a history. X-Defiant's pulling from, trying to do the FPS Super Smash Brothers, like pull from different Ubisoft IPs to kind of build this cast, which, I like it. I don't hate it. But, like, it's kind of, you can see by the player numbers. I kind of see X-Defiant player. I saw on news like that it's low. Let's see, or lower than it needs to, like lower than it was. It could be pretty high. Current players. Ubisoft FPS, blah blah blah. Despite it early on, what was this written, by the way? May 29th. A little too early. Still looks strong after release. This is June. Not bad. X-Defiant player cat has some. So yeah, I mean, I saw something somewhere. This is not really great research right now, but I'm trying to keep it on track. That X-Defiant's player numbers is not the best, and one could imagine like it's not balanced terribly well. Snipers, they're one tap machines in a game where it's kind of designed for higher TTK. So of course the obvious thing is if you have a low TTK weapon like a sniper and you just head ding someone, it's kind of annoying, like, to deal with. So I mean, besides all that crap, that's my personal gripe with X-Defiant. X-Defiant versus Call of Duty. Call of Duty's kind of suffocating you out the gate. Like, everybody's playing Call of Duty. Everybody's looking at you to bring something new and fresh, and that's kind of the only way I can think to compete. But they don't have that on release. I don't think they had enough. Whatever they were doing, they didn't have enough juice to kind of keep people coming back. So, yeah, I mean, for Marvel Rivals killing Paladins, I mean, yeah, Paladins was already suffocated at birth. Very weak target to begin with. Killing Overwatch, that's going to be a hard thing to do. This is going to be a hard thing to do. Like, Overwatch has to kill itself. Overwatch has to destroy itself before, you can get anything out of it. Like, you can't beat it. Now, maybe one day it'll happen. But when Overwatch came out, it was like a big freaking deal. Everybody was playing this thing like religiously. Like, you can see it now. Whole careers have been made off this game. So to make something new, to beat that and completely wipe it away, I don't know if that's precedented like that, and I don't know if that's going to happen in this case. So I mean, I do agree. So long story short, I agree with Samito here. I don't think it's going to beat Overwatch or destroy Overwatch. It's not close enough to do that. But it does offer a compelling option for someone who likes hero shooters, who kind of likes this play style, this objective style game modes, and who wants to kind of be wacky, like just have wacky fun, which I'm all for. I think games should be more wacky and more fun instead of very serious and very annoyingly meta.
It will directly compete with Overwatch, which is great for the consumers in this genre. That is what we need. And I'm not saying Paladins is going to die, but Marvel Rivals is like a mix between Fortnite and Overwatch if it's going to have a League of Legends-esque hero roster. Like, I hope they continue to add a ton of different characters. And this is where the Marvel's going to be able to win.
Yeah.
It's that they're less limited with their design choices. They very clearly want to go more wacky and powerful to really capture what the Marvel heroes actually are. And on top of that, they can add a roster with way more depth. So I hope it has the character options of League, with the gameplay loop and hero identity of Overwatch, which it does right now, with the visuals of Fortnite and it being an Unreal Engine 5. This is a recipe for a game to become mainstream. It is. If you guys have, let me just tell you this. If you're not paying attention to Marvel Rivals, it's time to start.
Oh, yeah. I'm convinced.
This game will not be dead on arrival. It won't. I would be shocked if it won't. I've easily been able to put in 60 plus hours in the game, and every night I'm playing the game. Every single night, I tell myself, all right, I'm getting off after this game. Oh, okay, one more. Oh, okay, one more.
It's a good sign.
I haven't had that feeling in so
It's a good sign.
long when playing Overwatch. But because Overwatch is first person and Marvel's third person, they
Ready to tackle your
Dang
debt? We can help. A
Dang it.
Stretch Financial Wellness Vision
Love that.
subscription can help.
will be a little bit different from each other. So it's not like Marvel is just going to replace Overwatch. The offerings that these two games have are definitely different. But as of right now, I've been really enjoying Marvel. I love the game, guys. It's so much damn fun. And to me, it kind of is like the difference between like Apex Legends, for example, and Warzone. Right? Where it's like they're both BRs, but they're very clearly different, and they do their specialty a little bit different. Like they're both Mexican restaurants, right? You know, in the restaurant industry. Like let's compare the gaming to the restaurant industry. You could have a whole line of restaurants on the street, and they're technically competing with each other, right? But one could be a Chinese food, a Panda Express. One could be a Taco Bell, right? Which is more Mexican, and then you can have a ton of different variety, right? But how this is like if a Panda Express and a PF Chang's opened up next door to each other. It's like, which one are you going to go to? And if you're a customer, you're like, yo, this is sick. I have choices. Now, if you're the chain owners of the restaurants, you're like, this goddamn PF Chang's opening up next to my Panda Express. What the hell is going on? Get these guys out of here. It's cool, man. It's really cool. So Marvel Rivals will not kill Overwatch, but it will take a chunk of their players. It will. I think Marvel
Take a chunk. I don't know if take a chunk means share, but yeah, like there will be some overlap. I can see some overlap because I'm already interested in playing. Just kind of watching the gameplay. If they have like more aim type heroes, kind of high skill cap type heroes, I'm definitely kind of interested in playing it. You know, just to get a vibe. At the very least, he's going to share game time because you know, of course, I kind of fell in the Overwatch camp and stayed in the Overwatch camp for a while. You know, play some Tarkov and stuff, but you know, too much time. I have to dedicate too much time. I can't wait for Arena Breakout to come out though. It's a little bit more accessible and it's still got that Tarkov sensibility. But you know, for Marvel Rivals, I can see you know your player base sharing playtime, which for these companies it might as well be taking. I'm gonna be honest. I mean, like this is what they're doing. They're trying to get as much mental capacity, mental space, time spent. They're trying to collect all that from you. That's what they're competing for, so they can get your little whale bucks. Come on, whale bucks, $20 skins, baby.
Marvel Rivals, if Marvel Rivals is going to kill any game, it's going to be Paladins. Because Paladins is also that third-person shooter that they're not going to be able to... I'm not saying Paladins is a bad game or anything, but like how do you mash a Marvel's character identity when their gameplay loop is already intriguing? And you can tell how much care they put into all this stuff because, like, again, the soundtracks are amazing. Like, when I'm in Asgard, I feel like I'm in Asgard, dude. It's just a great game. It's awesome. And it's going to take a chunk out of Overwatch.
He's fanning out a little bit right now. Yeah, you know, music, I get it. You know, it sets the tone and all that. But, like, when the metal meets the road, like, when the game is annoying, how annoying is it? You know, that's kind of what you have to kind of be mindful of when you're in these scenarios. When you're playing a game, you know, you have these high highs. A lot of games can get those high highs. But what is the lows like? Because when the lows come around, that's when you kind of determine, you know, how sticky the game is. You know, how much you actually enjoy. Because I can see all these things that make them happy, you know, one day turning around and being like, dog, like, the synergy crap is insane. What are they thinking? Why is it so OP? They nerf it, and it's like, what's the point? Synergy sucks now. So, like, just be careful. Just be careful you're doing that.
But it won't kill the game. And I'm very, very excited to see what direction they take this game. And I hope they go a more casual side.
I do too.
Because the best thing you can do for competitive is what I've learned is, like, you know, is make a game that's worth investing time into for casuals, and then try to, I don't know, make the rank system good, which it already kind of is. They've got hero bands to spice up the meta. And we'll see. I'm very, very...
Hero band. So it is kind of got that League of Legends vibe. I mean, I assume they'd have something like that because you got so many heroes to choose from and so many different kits. I would assume you would have hero bands in the game. I would think.
very curious how this one's going to play out because I think that Overwatch as an FPS is designed to be much more competitive than a third-person shooter is.
True.
It just kind of is.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean the game's not fun to play competitively. It's actually very, very fun. So it's going to be a very fun thought experiment to play out here. Marvel Rivals is not going to kill Overwatch, but it will take a chunk of the players, and it will compete. Mark my words right now. Marvel Rivals is going to directly compete with Overwatch and be Overwatch's first real competitor that, frankly, as of right now, in my opinion, has a higher ceiling than Overwatch does. Marvel Rivals has a higher ceiling than Overwatch does. Unfortunately, because Overwatch has already tried to explore that ceiling and, no flame here. They fucked it up. It just is what it is. Like Overwatch.
It depends. If the launch is really strong and they can, really tighten this up. I mean, not even tighten it up, but if the launch is strong and there's a nice player base and they don't ruin it in some aspect. Now, I'm not like a guy who cares that much about like monetization, like get paid the way you need to get paid, but like how you implement it might hurt. We'll see. We'll see about that. We'll see about that one. Let's run it back. Let me see if I got the spirit of what he was saying.
Overwatch has already tried to explore that ceiling.
Yeah, so the exploring that ceiling, I get it. It's Marvel. It's new, so they haven't even tried to explore, and they're basing it off a very strong IP. But just wait. Because you don't know. Like, was there a Suicide Squad game or something that came out? Nobody liked it. I'm just coming off the top of my head. It didn't have the ceiling until you saw there was barely a floor to begin with. So yeah, just gotta wait and see. You gotta wait and see. Overwatch went too hard though. I think Overwatch went too hard doing that Overwatch League stuff. Different, the implementation. I understood what they were doing. But when it was time to scale back, they kept on trying to do the same thing. Oh, this person's still in Philly, and we still want to, do stuff in Philly. And I'm like, is the money there for that? Are the views there for that? I think they expanded too far, too fast. But I did admire kind of their approach and what they were trying to do. But we'll see. I don't know. We got to see how it starts. That's usually how I think about it.
And, no flame here. They fucked it up. It just is what it is. Like Overwatch 2 was a disaster. Is a disaster currently.
I don't know.
And Marvel Rivals doesn't have that underneath them. They don't. They've got the entire Marvel
Overwatch 2 disaster. This might be a Samito thing. I don't know. Lots of people play it. A lot of concurrent player base. It may not be as fun as you want it to be, or it may not be what you want it to be, but I don't know if it's failure. That's hard terminology. That's hard terminology for me to bite. But, I can see where he's coming from as far as the spirit, and I know who this is, how he feels about it. But, I temper that a little bit.
Universe to explore, from character identity to campaigns they could do, events they could do. They could really do anything, and they don't have to rely on a writing team to hire to do that, because they've got years of comics they could choose from. And if this game does well, who knows what Marvel could try to do to put into it. But man, I'm excited. So let me leave it at this, guys. Marvel Rivals will not kill Overwatch, but they will take big chunks of that player base. They absolutely will. I'm going to be one of them. I plan on covering Marvel Rivals very, very thoroughly. In fact, I might cover it more than Overwatch on this channel. I will probably do both, but man, I am so excited to have a real competitor out there that is just so damn fun. So listen, put Marvel Rivals on your map. It's game time, baby, and trust me, I will be there. So thank you guys for watching. Those are my thoughts on Marvel Rivals and if it will kill Overwatch. My answer is no, but it's going to do some damage. And that damage ends up being good for the consumer, a.k.a. us. And it's finally nice for, it feels like the first time in 5 years, to be put first in this genre. So much love to everybody at home. Get ready for some more Marvel Rivals. It's going to be a damn good time. So thank you guys for watching. Catch y'all later. Take care. Peace out.
Nice. Okay. No, I do understand. Will it damage Overwatch? Damage meaning it will have to share the space? Yes. Yes, it'll have to share the space. Damage in the sense of more players.
Celebrate love.
With 1-800.
No love. Anyway, will it take watch hours or play hours, content hours, stream? The space is going to be filled. Will it hurt them in that way? Yeah, I can see that. Will it kill it? No. Overwatch is far too established, and it needs. If anything is going to destroy Overwatch, it's going to be itself. I mean, you kind of see it a little bit here and there, a little bit. So I get where he's coming from a little bit, but as far as it beating out Overwatch, yeah, no, I'm with him on that. So very good video, Samito. Very good video as per usual. I'm gonna drop the link to the video if you want to see it in the description. Thank you for watching. What do you feel about Overwatch? What do you feel about Marvel Rivals? If you've played it, let me know how you feel about Marvel Rivals if you played it. What other game modes do they have associated? I'm gonna do some research around it. See if I can get access to the game. I don't know if it's closed beta, open beta. I don't know. I don't. He says he's playing it all the time. This was a day ago, so maybe it's playable for me. So I'll check it out. Anyway, like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.